Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Welcome to Local Yokelz. And we are currently recording. Ladies and germs and filthy hot dogs, I have somebody special here for you today. So jump out of that boiling pot of water you got going on. Come on down and listen to this podcast here. I have my good friend David Fitzgerald on the podcast. You don't even believe. Woo!
What's up, buddy? What's up?
I have literally, whether you know this or not, I have literally told the hot dogs that listen to this awful show that I've wanted you on a podcast like multiple times. I like name dropped you. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this dude David, like David Fitzgerald. I know I gotta get him on here one of these days. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
man.
For anyone that's listening that knows me and hasn't talked to me in a while, I've been clean and sober for coming up on 22 months now. And I just wanted to get that out of the way really quick. But yeah, I'm stoked that you feel that way. And I'm glad that you wanted me on here. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. So thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. And like, honestly, big congrats on that. Like, let's keep, like, it's a number that like, it's one of those things. It's like, it's fucking impressive to just keep watching it grow. And I imagine that's like tenfold for you at least. So yeah, seriously, good work. Keep it up. But thank you. Man, I mean, to be honest, like I've just like in the back of my head ever since like starting doing this, I kept going like, man, like I just know that David would be like so good for fucking podcasting. Like, I mean, like we've talked about it before, Twitter, like horror movie posts, like, like when you were live streaming shit, like all sorts of stuff, man, that you've just got a voice, dude.
that like year period where I would do that was so much fun. It's like, there'd be mixed reactions. There'd be people that would be like, why don't you just shut up? Like, who gives a shit? And then there's like diehard horror fans that would be like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Keep going.
For real. And that's basically it. Like, I suppose like along the way, I've kind of learned like there's always fucking haters out there.
Oh yeah.
But like, I have to give like zero shits about them as much as they have to give zero shits about me.
There you go.
Like, whatever, man. Like, we're here for the hot dogs and the fans that are listening. Like,
exactly.
Strange, so shout outs to them. But
definitely.
So even though this is a particular episode of Local Yokelz, this is this should be a fun podcast. Me and you, we just finished watching the Prophets game.
Oh Lord.
Which
and like I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror movie, but it's got horror elements. There's a lot of shitty horror movies that a lot of people know. I guarantee barely anybody knows who this movie is.
I guarantee you also, dude. Like, I mean, we wouldn't know about it unless we had all those years ago, like picked it up it was at like a Walmart bin or whatever, right?
Yep. Dollar store, dollar bin.
Yeah. And so the Prophets game, and I just want to point this out right away, like on Amazon, which is the only place that I could find streaming it, they had two different versions of the Prophets game listed. One was from '99, which had a different cover, and it had
hello?
Yo, you still there? Oh no, froze up on us. There we go.
Right.
It happens. But so I found on Amazon that the Prophets game had a version from '99 and a version from 2000. And the 2000 cover looked edgy as fuck. Like, that was the one that I think we watched. It was like kind of dark, almost like noir-esque, and like Dennis Hopper's on there, like looking like he's about to rob a motherfucker or something. I don't know. But the 99 cover had like the one that I kind of remember, where I feel like it was like a little darker, kind of like tinged, like coppery colored. Like, Anyway, it's such a trivial detail, but I was like, I wonder if they like took the original and had to like clean it up to some degree or something. But maybe
it's a great detail to have noted because
it's also, it falls right in line with like one of the first things I saw when I popped the movie on, and that was that movie was made by a production company called Profits Game LLC.
Okay. I thought I was the only one that saw that in the opening credits. I'm like, are you kidding me?
They really staked it all on this thing.
That should have been the first indication.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was either they were really hoping that this was gonna like launch something for themselves, like whoever was making this movie, or they were just like, fuck it, it's not gonna go anywhere. Let's just launch, like, let's start this LLC. We'll watch it burn to the ground with the movie as it comes out.
Exactly. So, for the uninitiated, a quick little synopsis. The Profits Game is a 2001. It came out in 2001 movie starring Dennis Hopper in ultimate check cashing mode because he nails it in. And fun fact: at the beginning, the guy, like in the flashback scene, the farmer dad is played by Patrick Swayze's brother.
I had that on my notes too. I was like, the underappreciated Swayze for sure. Fucking Don Swayze over here.
He is so hammy in that like short role.
It's so brief, but he's like somehow he nails the abusive redneck father.
Oh yeah, he's like, I'll skin you alive.
Yeah. That was probably my favorite line from him. Yeah, I'll skin you alive, boy. Like, whatever.
I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh my god!
Like, wow.
Yeah, I was like, this is going places. The great Don Swayze makes his appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how he feels about like being the background brother. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like a throwaway. It's a throwaway role. Oh, I see. What you're saying. Sorry.
Do you think Patrick Swayze cast a big shadow on him?
Oh yeah, and there's other like Hollywood. I hate that term, but like acting siblings like that, where one was bigger than the other. Like obviously.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, man, I can't. Ron Howard, and then his younger brother was in a bunch of like C and B grade horror movies. Clint Howard, he's hilarious.
I did not know that actually.
He's in like The Ice Cream Man, and dude, he's great.
Yeah, Clint.
He's in he's a small role in The Dentist too. But we can talk about that another day.
Yeah, that's actually the Dentist movies are a couple I would love to talk about sometime.
Of course.
But I want to point out that the first line in this movie was spoken by Don Swayze, and it was, I quote, "God, why are you punishing me?"
Oh wow!
It's like his classic farmer scene. He's like scooping up dirt, and he's like looking at the sky.
All of this like prequel thing didn't need to happen because barely any of it plays into the rest of the movie except for a throwaway line at the end, which we'll talk about. But
yeah,
he was great.
That was wild to me. Like, you're right though. Like that entire first sequence, there was really like no need for that build up because you don't have like, you don't know it's not like you knew the killer from like a previous movie or something like that.
Exactly.
Now giving you some backstory, you're like, I already don't care about this character. You don't. And
it says, yeah, it's like, what did it say? It was like 1960 something, and you could clearly tell like it did not look like the fucking 60s or whatever it was.
No, not at all. But it like, there's like a mention of that the parents suspect. So like obviously so the kids are playing this like game called the Profits Game that like I think the boy made up or something like that, and yeah, like it cuts away from like after the dad skinned the boy alive, not literally, but you know, the parents are talking and they're like, he's your boy, Don, or whatever, like whatever her name is, and she's, you know, it's like weird because he's like accused, like telling her like it's your boy, and she's like it's not necessarily just my boy, but they talk about a dog being killed that would have been the thing to show.
True, but that is what I'm talking about with this throwaway line that we learn at the end, which I'm glad you pointed out.
I gotcha.
So then, but yeah. And then it jumps like 30 years into the future, and Dennis Hopper is old as hell, retired detective living in Seattle of all places.
Yeah, dude, I had no frame of reference. Like, it has been so long since I last watched this that I had no idea that he was like a Seattle detective or whatever.
I forgot about that too, which plays no role into the movie because he instantly goes to California.
Yeah, he spends the entire movie in California after getting in Seattle. But yeah, he gets like what that like a weird like cryptic card in the mail. Well, first I think this happens.
So bad.
Was this when like does he? Is this like does the first kill? I can't remember. I just watched it and I can't remember. Does the first kill happen during that transition?
So he gets the postcard, and then the first kill happens.
That's right. And he's laying on the couch or whatever, and he wakes up because he feels the death.
Oh God!
Of Luna Wells. Like, it happens multiple times throughout movie, and they build no reasoning for this like psychic connection he has with like the murder victims.
I didn't think about that because it happens at the first two kills, and they don't explain it, and it doesn't happen again. And also with those first two kills,
and it doesn't happen.
It like the first one's with the knife, and the second one's with like a really small like butcher knife. But when it shows it like in the air, it rips off the music from Psycho. It's like
I put that down too. I was like, whoa, dude! It's like just off enough. Like, it's totally, you can recognize it, but it's like the key is like off just enough.
So they didn't get copyright infringement or something.
Much. That's why I kept thinking us like those sneaky bastards.
So his first like really terribly done line is after the first kill, and he's talking on the phone with the detective, and they're like, why would the killer put your phone number in blood? He's like, I don't know why he would do that. It's like, couldn't they have done another take?
Like, his delivery. I was trying to explain this to somebody. I was like, I've never held Dennis Hopper up as like a terrible actor. You know what I mean? I always felt like he was kind of like a respected actor.
He was. But I mean, yeah.
Like, how did I describe it? I was like, he's like, if Anthony Hopkins is like the A-list old white guy, maybe Dennis Hopper has fallen to the B-list at this point.
At a time, he was like, I mean, outside of his role in Super Mario Brothers and what I thought was a cheesy role in Waterworld, yeah, he did a lot of great movies back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, he was in like that David Lynch movie with Blue Velvet. Like,
ooh, yeah,
that movie's fucking wild. But like, yeah, I don't know. I felt like he had more clout, and then like just to see the as you say, like the check cashing performance that he puts in for this, you're just like, wow, dude, he's phoning it in. The days of Speed are behind him. Or actually, do you think, when did the movie? Never mind. That's completely off subject. But okay, so he gets immediately lured into this. Dennis Hopper gets immediately lured into this drama of the prophet, right? And so he hops a plane. He goes down to California and stays in the shitty motel that the postcard was from. Right. Then, like, I feel like it's shortly after he gets there that he starts interacting with the police. Right?
Oh, and God.
They're all across the board. There's
like the typical like guy that doesn't want to work with him. That's like the macho cop, you know?
Yeah, he's like the captain of the precinct or whatever, and he's like, yeah, you do it by my rules.
Right. It's cliche as hell.
Vincent Swan.
Yeah.
But there's this little brief moment, and you really don't see him for much of the movie, but Michael Dorn, the guy who plays Worf in Star Trek The Next Generation.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know, like the head cop honcho. He's not like the captain necessarily. He's like above the captain. Maybe he's the captain. But he's like, when Vincent Swan first starts kind of like getting there in California and interacting, like Michael Dorn is like in the office, in his like, you know, office smoking a cigar, and they're talking, and then like
that's who that was. Okay.
Yeah, you don't see him. You see him maybe like one other time through that movie. And
I think that might be it. Yeah.
Completely gone, but he's like billed in there as like a big name, which is kind of funny.
Which is like a throwaway role, yeah.
But it just reminded me, like, that whole sequence, and then like subsequently throughout this entire movie, like cigars play a really prominent role. Like they're
God,
like multiple times Dennis Hopper has conversations with people in the movie where they're like, you can't smoke in here, this is LA, not, you know, like like they allude to like California already like banning smoking indoors and stuff like that.
I didn't notice that detail. That's funny. Yeah.
What's her name? The detective Aldrabroni. I keep having a hard time saying her name. Aldrabroni. What's her name?
Forgot. I completely forgot her name because
I wrote it down. It's like Aldro Brandy. That's it. Aldro Brandy.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't pronounce that name. Like the only police detective in California that decides to work with Dennis Hopper apparently to find the new Little Jack killer.
The Little Jack. Yeah.
That was the other thing, dude. Like so the game that we see in the beginning of the movie that the kids are playing has now gone online to the days of the early internet.
Yep.
And like now it's like roping in college students, right? And that's
which is introduces a scene which is like the only scene that I remember from the movie is the really fucking annoying guy, his fat friend, you know,
Lewis.
Oh God, Lewis. I'm so glad that his role was short because he annoyed the shit out of me.
Dude, his
voice.
Oh my God, his voice. It's so, ha! You owe me 20 bones.
I can't even recreate it. Like that was but it was bad.
Yeah, it's so bad. And it's just like, it is. It's like, it's cringy as hell. But that whole scene where like they say the phrase bones, like at
over
least
and over.
At least like 4 times in a row. Like,
because the main guy,
bones. I'm not paying you 20 bones. Like,
he's like, I want my 20 bones. I want my 20 bones. And then he just walks away. It's like, God.
It reminds
but yeah,
me, yeah.
Like you said, sorry to cut you off. No, like you said, the Prophets game morphed into, and this is in 2001, like early internet, super popular. But yeah, now it's like an online campus game, apparently going on everywhere in the USA.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's these students at Sierra Vista University, which looks like just like a high school campus that they borrowed for the day.
Right.
They like, you know, they're playing the game. There's what's the fucking main dude's name? Alan or whatever. He's the blue player.
Hello, blue player.
That was the weird thing is like he keeps like throughout the movie he gets these phone calls, you know, from the Prophet. And it like switches between like this kind of like semi-intimidating, like masked sort of like deep voice, like, tell me what your clue is, Prof or blue player. And then it goes to like a child where it's like, what's your answer, blue player?
Yeah. It just switches and it doesn't tell you. It's like, what was the point?
Exactly. There's no explanation, no like, I don't know. I mean, much like most of this movie, it just moves forward. There's no explanation for like half the shit that happens in this movie.
I like how there's, I think it's before the second death, there's like this really quick, it's like maybe 20 seconds where he's talking to a detective in a strip club where they have this like obligatory nudity scene of a stripper, which is like just no point to it.
Literally in my notes, I just wrote titties because it was like, it's just out of absolute nowhere.
Yep.
Where it's like, they decide to just like, I don't know, have these characters have an interaction inside a titty bar. And it's like, and it just like, it just makes no sense for the overall context of the movie. And it like, I don't know, like, I don't know what they were going for. Maybe they just like
I don't either.
But anyway, yeah, there was like a brief bit of nudity there for whatever it's worth. And then like the next thing I kind of like, because like who's the next victim? The next victim's that English guy.
He's or no, the second victim is he's like a country singer.
No, that's the third victim.
Oh yeah,
God, we're getting the Prophets victims all backwards.
Anyway, so a little context. So the original Prophets game is they were talking about famous people, and so the new one is they're also talking about famous people, but in the context of the movie. And the killer is going around killing these quote unquote famous people, but the clues to the game are clues to figure out who the next victim is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're just strange. Like they're obviously not like real celebrities, so you don't really appreciate them. But one's like an author, one's like a country singer, one's like a pop musician. It's just people that are like really heavily idolized, I think it's
true. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Well, because like in the very beginning of the movie, during that like arbitrary sequence, the Don Swayze's asking the kid, he's like, what is all this? And the kid's like, idolatry.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Wow.
I guess maybe that's the overall theme. But yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, that's the interesting thing about the game though. It's like you have to guess the clue, and if you don't guess the person correctly, then that person dies. Essentially. Which really, they have no choice over it. Like this, like they're not playing the game themselves. They're just like that kind of sucks. But anyway, so when one of the victims in the movie over the course of the movie is this English novelist who really can't change a tire, doesn't know how to in 2001. And, that's right. That's the second death. That's right. And he basically hands the prophet killer person shows up at his car and like,
oh
like,
God,
hey, do you know anything about changing tires? You want to help me? And then he hands the person the tire iron that he subsequently gets beat with. Seems like a good idea. A figure in all black with a mask walks up like, God damn. The logic there. That's the thing. There's a great line after that scene because it shows like, it doesn't show it, but he gets beheaded, right? And so they, Vincent Swan and everyone gets called to the scene because he gets another cryptic phone call. Yeah. But and one of the, what's that? Really quick though, this was another death where he was like moaning and kind of in his sleep, squirming around in his sleep, like it was like weird noises too. But anyway, so yeah, so like everybody gets called to the scene, and like classic kind of cop clash, right? Like this is where like the riff starts beginning, where like the these guys like, you better not fuck up my crime scene, and then he covers it up. And that's right. Probably the dirtiest part of this whole movie to me. the collusion of but there's a quick throwaway line there that's really good where one of the cops is like, it's like a fucking Wes Craven movie over there. Like, did they really have to say that? Like, what the hell? That's it's like, it's weird because it's like, apparently, I don't know, it's one of those occasions, it's like somebody referencing like the Seinfeld like series finale in a sitcom or something like that. It's weird to have like a horror director, somebody who also makes horror movies, kind of like mentioned as a real person in this like fictitious world. Mind you, good horror movies, not dollar bin, not Prophet's Game. Right. That's it jumps from like there to like, what is it? It's like they can like Hopper's character Vincent Swan has basically like falls out with the police over the course of like the next like bit of movie. Yeah. And like you said, I forget her name, but she's like the one that believes him and starts partnering up with him. Yeah. Where is it? I have to read it literally to like be able to say it. Aldrobroni. And then it's funny because they say it twice, which it's almost like the writer thought this was really clever because at one point she's like, it's like we're in cahoots. And then like 5 minutes later, Dennis Hopper's like, oh shit. Can you still hear me? Yeah. Okay. Dennis Hopper's like, yeah, we're in cahoots now. It's like they just learned that word when they were penning the script.
The word of the day.
Yeah, it's like, well, and so they're having this like a whole falling out, and like right before they like he really kind of stops working with the police for the and just with the detective Alderbrony. Although her name's Frances, and she just keeps telling everybody to stop calling
me Frances.
Don't call me Frances. They have this like. They try to set up a sting operation at some point to try and lure Alan or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yep. Hello, blue player.
And so, Alderbrony kind of poses as this like potential Profits game player.
Yep.
Meets him at this marina where he is like posted, like the sign to like meet other Profits game players.
Right.
She goes up and asks him about the death that has been covered up, and he immediately knows about it because he's been playing the game and he got the clue wrong and all that shit.
And his fiance works at the morgue.
That's right. That's actually why he knows. It's because she has the inside tips on the corpses coming in.
Yep.
Which also, I want to make a side note. His fiance Barb is like way out of his league.
Oh yeah, there's no question.
This dude's like this like jabroni with him and his friend Lewis are betting each other 20 bones to play online video games. She's over here living in the real world. Doing. And
she's smoking hot. Yeah, it's weird.
She's way above it. But anyway, so they get to this sting operation at the marina, and when he kind of discovers that police are there trying to like get him or whatever, a foot chase ensues, and it is it is one of the most ridiculous foot chases I feel like I've watched.
It's like a massive blend of every kind of scene that was from like a 90s procedural cop show. It's like, oh god,
like everything is he's getting chased. I mean, the thing that stands out the most to me about this whole foot chase scene though is that for the most part it's Dennis Hopper chasing this college student. And like the college student's like throwing stuff at him, jumping over stuff, doing all the classic moves, and somehow Hopper's like keeping up with them.
Right.
All like before this movie, he's kind of like presented as this, retired, sort of not feeble necessarily, but like not as well. He's just an older guy, and so it was just so out of the blue and so funny to me to sort of see like all of a sudden his character just has like the youthful energy and he's going and going. I'm gonna get my motherfucking guy this time. No,
they're just like
little Jack ain't getting away from me this time.
They're just barreling through people. It's just mayhem.
Just knocking people over, like knocking through people's like food stands they have set up, like just destroying shit.
It's great.
It was a ridiculous scene.
It was. And
then like shortly after that, Hopper gets like he's having like a freak out moment, and he's like thrashing his motel room.
Just destroys it.
And it's so funny to me because it's like almost like a slow motion thrashing. Like he'll pick up a chair and he'll like kind of turn it over. It's like you're like, yeah, the emotion's there, I suppose, but like it just doesn't seem very like imposing or intimidating.
It's kind of another just throwaway like cliche scene, but it must have been therapeutic for him of how shitty of a movie this is.
That might have been it. But you're right, dude. Like there's multiple instances that this movie holds where I think they just like took cliches and like kind of standards from other movies and other things not in the genre itself, and like tried to just replicate those as much as possible. And
it's a really bad detective movie for sure.
Yeah, it's a bad detective movie. It's a bad like serial killer kind of like sort of chase the man kind of movie. But I don't know. It's just strange how they tried to jam so much that works in other films.
And I feel like it's to the detriment because, like we talked about, there's like a good like 30 to 40 minutes of it that's so bad it's like an endurance test to get through it.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and rifle through that right now. So they eventually get to a point. Like everything else leading up to this is now arbitrary to you listeners. They eventually get to the point where Al Jabroni gets kidnapped by the prophet, and like the prophet basically taunts Dennis Hopper into meeting them at somewhere, and there's this whole sequence where like you see the detective Al Jabroni like tied up, and the prophet's like they're in a room full of candles.
It's ridiculous.
She, like is like putting like, I don't know, kerosene or gasoline on her,
right?
Like the way she like splashes it onto the actress, like the arm out of the side of the the side shot, like she splashes it on, you can see it like gets in her face and stuff, and like the actress is just like sitting there like kind of like struggling for a bit, like with like whatever liquid.
I wonder if it was just water or not, but yeah, you could tell that she was not happy with how that played out.
Well, I just kept thinking, like, I was just like, man, like they I wonder, like, after like what point did they just decide like we just need to rush production? We need to, like, we're running out of time to make this movie. We just need to get this shit done.
But like you said, there wasn't a first movie or anything to like establish who this character is. So when the reveal comes of who the killer is, it's so anticlimactic. Absolutely. Essentially, it's like, who's it? Like, you're led to believe that the killer is obviously the girl from the beginning scene, but they don't really explain it at any point except for the throwaway line where she's like, yeah, and they thought my brother was the one that killed the dog, but I was the one that did it,
Exactly. That is the only... it's like the most, like... throwaway is the best word for it. It's this throwaway line that is meant to connect the entirety of the story, basically.
Yeah,
like,
and that's man,
it's so strange because you're right. Like, other than that, you're just sort of like, this could just be like somebody who was a big fan of the first killer. Like, it's
true, because they allude to the fact that it's a copycat because you got the first one, know.
But out of nowhere, out of absolute nowhere, at the end of it all, you're like, it's like all of a sudden it's the sister of the original person,
right? Because
and they were so apparently her and her brother were both killing or playing the game or doing whatever. And
the first time around, right?
And that's when
he killed. So to people that haven't seen the movie, he in flashbacks originally it shows him getting hit by like a shovel, and then it shows another flashback of him killing the guy.
Yeah.
So he kills the brother of the girl, and now this is her like revenge tour years later to like get back at him. It's so bad.
Revenge tour 2001.
I love the part where they're in the thing with candles and she turns the seat around and it's like this human puzzle of all the dead bodies. It looks so bad.
That was another cliche though. It was like okay.
It's true.
At no point have they been establishing that she's except for that one sequence where like, with the
fucking extension cord,
with the extension cord, and she like cuts off like a foot.
Right.
That's the only time that you like even see or reference like the killer taking a body part, and then
because you assume she takes the head, but yeah, that's really it.
But at the end of it, it's like this patchwork Frankenstein corpse with like all the different victims. You're like, oh
god,
so that's what she's been doing.
Which was almost like another like. It wasn't the same essentially, but it was almost like another ripoff of Psycho, where at the end it's revealed his dead mom's been in the fruit cellar the whole time.
Actually, that is kind of like that is a good call. Especially just like the way they do like the shot where it's like the chair spinning around the corpse. And it's like, yeah, maybe dude, I swear, like that must have been it. This movie must have been like a fucking cash grab or something.
It was bad.
Just to like, and that's why they had to. I mean, like when writing that script, they had to have been like, okay, use the Psycho music here. Mama Bates unveiling at the end here. Like
a typical police chase scene here, or dude, it's pretty bad. It's such just like shitty like melding of all these different genres, and it's just doesn't do service to any of them.
No.
Like maybe if they would have just picked one aspect and focused on that more, it could have been a little better. But I don't know.
I agree. I think they just I don't know. I after watching this movie, I still fully don't know what they were trying to get out of it.
One of the most hilarious parts in the movie, though, is near the end. So, like you said, she's doused in fire. He comes in and he has the gun, but it's not loaded. And the killer leaves and starts fleeing the scene. He's chasing after her and trips and falls down the fucking hill. Like,
it's such a goofy trip. It's like,
it was so unnecessary.
It's like just replaying the nightmare from the first go around. He like somehow
that's right,
like, tripping and falling into another giant grave full of bodies.
Oh yeah, and it's Lewis's dead body.
Oh yeah, it's all blue and shit.
Oh, it's so bad looking. It's just epic.
I don't know if Lewis ever got his 20 bones, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I do not think so.
Yeah, there's the other thing that was kind of funny was like I kept so right near the right at the end there, in order to like finally kind of like put down the killer, which is now like unveiled to be like the sister of the original, the creator of the Prophets game, I guess.
Right.
Like Hopper, it just shoots her in the leg.
I know.
It just like caps her in the leg, and I kept thinking, I was like, "Huh, that worked." I wonder how often that would work in real life. Like,
no, for sure. Honestly, one thing I'm surprised they didn't do was like the cliche of the killer like coming back once more.
That's
like she was just dead.
That's what I kept thinking was like, no, she it's Aldo Brandy. She gets like shot in the back also during this whole sequence.
Right.
And they like shot straight in the back, like, and they have this like little interaction between her and Dennis Hopper at the end where he's like, like checking on her or whatever, and she makes a joke like, "Don't call me Francis."
Yeah.
Like give him one on the chin or whatever.
And then he goes, "No one said coming back from the dead would be easy."
With no provocation. Like that's like she's not dead. She never has been. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and then yeah, it just was so unrealistic. Like the whole from front to back, this movie gave you like, I don't know. It gave like no indication it was grounded in reality. It was just
right.
Like, weird, like ham-fisted, just cliche-filled romp. and
then it just ends, and then it has like a kind of like after credit scene where it's the girl and she's like in a mental ward, which they've done on so many other like shitty horror movies where she has some like one-liner,
Yeah, they like act like they're trying to build up to like a sequel or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh God, like, could you imagine?
Oh God, dude. What would the point be? But yeah, like, the movie overall, it ends with a close-up shot of Dennis Hopper's face, like on.
That's right.
It's like a still shot.
Oh God.
Of him like smiling or something like that. And I was like, what? Like that's how they leave this movie.
So. This is one of those movies that's like, I love watching horror movies that are so bad it's good.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Rewatching this, I wanted it to be that, but this movie's just bad. And for people that are listening, if you want to waste an hour and a half of your life, go watch it. But I'm not like with other movies, I'd be like, yeah, it's actually, I enjoyed it. Like this is a bad movie.
Like, and this is definitely one I want to talk about eventually, but like, like Pinocchio's Revenge.
Classic.
Like, that's like one of my classic go-to like terrible horror movies.
Exactly. And it's entertaining.
So fun.
It's so entertaining. It is.
Yeah.
Same with like both dentist movies or etc. But
this just didn't hit that note, unfortunately.
No. And I don't think that however much long, because I think we watched it in like 2003 or 2004. I don't think that like 18 years did it any justice.
Yeah, when you frame it like that, it definitely hasn't aged any better.
No.
Oh man, yeah, that's definitely one that I don't know if I'm gonna end up watching anytime soon.
No. It was for the sake of this, it was fun watching it, but yeah, it was I'm looking forward to whatever we do in the future because I know it's going to be better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But for anyone that's listening, I give it 1 out of 5 stars. Watch it anyways.
1 out of 5 stars, or which equates to 2 out of 10 bones. But
oh God, I want my 20 bones.
All right. On that note, because of the damn Zoom, we're gonna have to sign off on this episode of Local Yokelz. But I guarantee you, dear hot dogs, I know you love the sound of his voice as much as I do. So I'm gonna pressure David to be on more. All right, he'll be back.
I just want to say thank you for having me, and it's funny that you just said that because I hate listening to my own voice. But
I feel you, man. I hate listening to my own voice too. It's just one of those things. But I've been told many times that other people do like listening to my voice. So maybe
I like listening to it. It gives me comfort. You got a great laugh, so there's that.
Well, back at you, my friend.
But real quick, before we end, I'm looking forward to doing this more in the future and maybe turning it into its own thing.
Absolutely, yeah. As always at Old Heart Radio, we just try to branch out and do as many different shows as possible. So hopefully we can. I'd love to turn this into an ongoing thing. Maybe we can eventually recommend some movies to the hot dogs that do listen and follow.
There we go.
For them to watch too, you know.
There we go.
But yeah, man, I really appreciate you stopping by and hopping on.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a pleasure to just sit down and just fucking laugh through something with you. So. Definitely. But do you have any last words for this episode, my friend?
I don't. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, you know, just as obligatorily as the intro, you know, hop on Instagram, hot dogs, follow us at Old Heart Radio, follow us on Twitter at Old Heart in Space, and subscribe to the damn YouTube if you really want to.
There you go.
I do not pay that much attention to it. That being said, keep on being you.